Hello, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Fat Bastard Wannabe Buddha coming at you today. Today's discussion is basically going to center around the Tea Party and the future of American populism and what is actually truthfully happening in American populism, at least how I see it. The two articles that I'm going to use as a buttress, as a way of springboarding into a conversation, is Michael Lynn's recent article. I think it was on October 7th in the Salon. Yes, it's a little dated and it's a little old. But also Michael Lynn's been doing pretty interesting stuff in Salon about regards to the rise of the new right, which isn't really that much of a rise of the new right. It's the same old folks. The main one is basically the Tea Party radicalization is misunderstood, meet the newest right. And also I wish to push this into Greg Pallas's recent piece that he had in Truth Out. It's also on his website. The Golden Dawn murder cases, Larry Summers and New Fascism. I do think there is a link in my little head, and bear in mind I see connections when there really aren't any, because I got a beautiful mind, allegedly. But the main gist of the article that Michael Lynn puts forward is that the rise of the new right, the Tea Party in themselves, is that sometimes the left gets it completely wrong and mistakenly believing that it's completely AstroTurf. You can make a substantial case about that most of the Tea Party is an artificial construct, that most of the groundwork was laid in the 90s and the beginning of the 2000s, most of the copyright names and stuff, and the Koch brothers, it's the same old cast of characters that all engaged into this little narrative of the rise of the Tea Party, and it wasn't Scantelli having a little nervous breakdown on the Chicago trade floor that founded the Tea Party. No, this has been in the works for a long time, and that is right. And also, Michael Lynn has a bit of information about who these people truly are, and these people aren't the Goldman Sachses. They aren't the J.P. Morgan, Citi, Chase, Bank of America, the big seven financial institutions. They're basically, as my fellow traveler in the South and proud member of the Southern Diaspora, Joe Baginet used to call them the pickle vendors. These are the people I grew up with in the South, that if you went to church regularly, and I used to go to church regularly, these are the guys that used to sit up in the first four rows of the church. These are, the people that own the local used car lot, the landlords of the local small community, the little money changers, the little small, petty, wannabe rich people, the little real estate speculators, the guys that own the local hardware stores, the guys that own the local construction firm or cement plant, the guy that owns the local car factory. I know I repeated that, but you will be amazed how many deacons of the church are used car salesmen. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. These are who these people are. These are all the people that always wanted to turn the South into a low-wage serfdom. These are the same landed gentry that had power before the Civil War, and for some strange reason, the Republican Party didn't destroy them after the Civil War. Reconstruction absolutely failed because they put in charge the same right-wing landed gentry nonsense that turned the South into the basket case that it truthfully is. And that is who these people are. They're by and large the small town boss hogs. That's who they are. The little petty small town boss hogs. And anybody that ever lived in a small town knows exactly what I'm talking about. And no, it isn't this nice Leave It to Beaver society. It is pretty nasty in small towns. They're pretty much ran by little fiefdoms and networks, and if you're on the out, you're on the out, and you can't get work. So that is who the Tea Party is. And what happened with the recent budget fight is the old little pickle vendors ran into Wall Street, and they got smashed, and they got smashed hard. And that's interesting to see how that's going to play out, whether or not they can mend those fences, or whether Wall Street has decided, hey, it's time to pull the plug on the Republican Party and go right on over to the Democratic Party, who has made a concerted effort for the past 10, 20 years since the rise of the DLC to cater to, becoming, Nelson Rockefeller-like. So the Tea Party's main purpose for a long period of time, they were the continuation of the Concerned Christian Councils, the John Birch Society. Their whole purpose was the root down and offer dead ends to, populist outcries in small rural communities. They have these people chasing down roads and avenues that means nothing to their basic means of life and well-being, but keeps them distracted for other things of building bonds and connections to other individuals that could, like the left, that could help find a way out of the desert that they find themselves in. What has happened in the South and on the Midwest currently, which is where the Tea Party is most powerful, is there been a massive deindustrialization inside the Midwest communities, the Rust Belt, and in the South itself, they thought they could play themselves as a low-wage, minimum regulation society and attract a massive amount of business. And truthfully, their societies is absolutely in dire straits. The South leads in every category that you don't want to lead on. From the amount of poverty, the amount of unwed teenage, the amount of drug abuse, the amount of AIDS, you name any horrific statistic, and normally on the top of the echelon is a Southern community. So the landed gentry that's been running the South for the past 200, 400 years have absolutely turned it into a basket case. But they kept the people bigoted enough and stupid enough to vote against their best interests. And that is the main purpose of the Tea Party. And that's also sort of ties into what Greg Palast mentions in his piece about the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn, he makes an excellent point. The Golden Dawn is the only anti-fascist party in Greece. It just so happens that it's a right-wing, racist, bigoted, homophobic, xenophobic, the closest thing to, Mussolini on the march in Europe since Mussolini on the march. So the Golden Dawn is a horrific, dangerous enterprise, but it's the only one that isn't, by and large, paid for by the big Wall Street crooks. And in a similar pattern, that's the same can be said about the Tea Party. The Tea Party is a bunch of bigots and xenophobes and homophobes, but they're the only ones not being paid for by big corporations. And as much as us on the left, take great pride in the Occupy movement, we have been unsuccessful in placing people in power at the local level, at the state level, and let alone at the federal level. As horrific as the Tea Party is, they basically got 70 to 90 House members in the United States Representatives. They own several governor mansions. Yes, it's easier for the big Wall Street boys to use them, they remove some regulation and stuff, but that's fixing to change. The left never fully organized. And that is the main purpose of the Tea Party. The purpose of the Tea Party by Wall Street and the powers that be, or the big banks and everything, is to create the form of fascism and populism. The only way that you're going to have populist resentment in this society is going to be channeled through a Tea Party type situation. You're going to be forced to listen to a Glenn Beck, or forced to listen to Alex Jones, God forbid. Because if you listen to what passes for, liberal commentators like Maddow and Randy Rhodes and stuff, they were all on, President Obama's, what. He's a great guy. He's a second coming. On the left, we're in an enviable position. Excuse me, can't speak English sometimes. We're in the unenviable position of supporting a Heritage Foundation healthcare plan, because it's the best that we can get through the current situation, and it will help some people. Not enough. It isn't Medicare for all. That's what we should have, but that is not allowed to have. That was taken off the table by Barack Obama himself, so that discussion cannot be had. And as one of my favorite writers and philosophers, Zizek, pointed out, in the future, after the collapse of what we're seeing with the collapse of capitalism, what you're going to have is you're going to have the good government types. That we can make the trains run on time, the soft fascism of Wall Street, and that's normally going to be what is considered the liberal end of the spectrum. That's going to be your Tony Blairs, your Bill Clintons, your Barack Obamas. You know, that soft velvet glove fascism is where we're headed. And the other option is going to be xenophobia, bigotry, hyper nationalism, racism, the Tea Party, the Golden Dawn. That's going to be the other alternative. So obviously, everybody's going to run into the nice little warm hand of velvet fascism, which is where we're headed. And that's the purpose, in my opinion, of the Tea Party. The Tea Party is just to chase the stragglers and all the lone people into a dead end philosophy, and absolutely keep the other individuals in the society so cowed and so terrified of those freaking nuts in the South coming to march on them and do ungodly things to them, that they tolerate, you know, the Barack Obamas and the Bill Clintons and the Hillary Clintons. Maybe this doesn't play out. Hopefully it doesn't. I still expect, you know, Barack Obama to force some kind of sense and bowl compromise. It was absolutely heartening to see that the recent Twitter fest with Sense and Bowles turned into an absolute troll fest, which really does show that there's no basis and no support for cutting entitlements in Medicare and Social Security, that America really does want to curtail the defense budget and increase spending on infrastructure, help pay down some student loans, help actually expand Social Security, actually expand Medicare. But that is not allowed to have in this society. So hopefully somebody took something out of that little ramble. I just wanted to get at something. I do believe that America is headed towards a velvet fascism, exemplified by the Democratic Party. And the other option is going to be a regional national party for the Republican Party. That's what they're going to turn into. They're going to become a regional national party of John Birchers. That's who they are. So that means that you get, you know, Nelson Rockefeller for as far as the eye can see. Maybe we get Elizabeth Warren to maybe make a run for it 2016, but I doubt very seriously if she can make it through a Democratic primary. But that's my thoughts. Also want to do a little bit of self-promotion. This will be what we will be reviewing tonight, hopefully, on those two awkward bastards, wannabe comic book guys, and blatantly honest comic books. So please, if you like that, turn into my friend Rick Sussman's channel. But I want to thank everyone, and please like, favorite, and subscribe. Thank you very much for your time and effort. Thank you.